The Core Way to Stop Overthinking. The book, Who Moved My Cheese? Hi, and a warm welcome to all of you. Welcome back to Celebrity Pages, the channel that shares knowledge for comprehensive self-development through great books. There is a miraculous book like this. It's so simple that even a 6-year-old can read and understand it. Yet it created a global sensation since its publication in 1998. Elites and successful people in society call it an eye-opener for life. And that's the novel Who Moved My Cheese? Its author is Spencer Johnson, one of the world's most famous and respected writers. Using a simple fable about two little people and two small mice searching for cheese in a maze, he points out a major problem in today's society. An increasing number of people are trapped in mental self-consumption, which is typically overthinking and overcomplicating issues, ultimately cornering themselves in the maze and rejecting change. If you're still filled with anxiety, confusion, and are overthinking, this book can give you the motivation and the antidote to change. Now I invite you to listen to a sharing from Celebrity Pages titled The Core Way to Stop Overthinking through the novel Who Moved My Cheese? The fastest way to destroy yourself? Overthinking. The two little people, Hem and Haw, and the two mice, Sniff and Scurry, lived together in a maze. Their daily task was to find cheese. One day, as usual, while running around the maze, they accidentally discovered Cheese Station C, which contained an abundance of delicious cheese. Initially, all four were diligent, waking up early every day, each with their own sense of direction to find the cheese. But soon afterwards, in their overwhelming joy over an endless supply of cheese, the two little people began to change. They woke up later, stopped being persistent in running, and no longer worried about finding cheese daily. Hem and Haw started to become complacent, and their weight also increased. In contrast, the two mice always remained vigilant, checking daily to see if there were any changes at the station. The two little people thought they could live comfortably like this forever, but that happy time didn't last long. Suddenly, one day, all the cheese disappeared. The unexpected event left Hem and Haw stunned at first, then angrily accused each other and cursed at whoever took the cheese with malicious words. Within a few days, they were wailing in desperate hunger and helplessness. Why did the author build the story's characters to be people and mice? The big difference between humans and animals lies in the brain and the ability to think. But sometimes complex thoughts in the mind can lead a person to get lost in an internal maze and corner themselves. The two little mice never overanalyzed things. When the situation at the cheese station changed, Sniff and Scurry decided to change immediately, scurrying all over the maze to find a new cheese station. Meanwhile, the two little people spent a very long time figuring out what to do next, analyzing and reanalyzing the situation, complicating the problem. Thoughts like, what the heck is happening here? Why is this happening to me? Filled their brains and cluttered their minds. And so while Sniff and Scurry had already found a new cheese station, Hem and Haw were still assessing the situation at Cheese Station C, wallowing in the pain of losing their cheese. In fact, what makes you suffer the most is not losing something or a situation or a person going against your wishes, but rather the endless inner battle within you. Mental self-consumption and overthinking are the fastest ways to exhaust yourself. In psychology, there is a term called rumination. The word rumination means to chew over, just like animals such as cows, goats, and sheep eat food, burp it up, and chew it again, repeating this cycle. A person with ruminative thinking is someone who repeatedly thinks about a certain idea or thought, gradually getting stuck in a loop but never being able to come up with a concrete decision or solution. Hem and Haw fell into the state of rumination when their cheese was gone. And you? Are you ruminating and overthinking because you want to have some cheese? Because you're holding on to cheese? Or because you've lost a piece of cheese, crushing your own spirit? If only I had tried a little harder, things wouldn't have turned out this way. If only I had chosen that path. I tried so hard, but my grades were still low. Am I incompetent? Why did my boss look at me with that attitude? What did she mean by what she said? Why didn't he reply to my message today? Mom did that because she doesn't trust me, right? There will be countless questions. Rumination always comes with sensitivity. Even minor things can make you think for a long time. This thought loop is like an addiction. If you're not careful, you'll fall into a state of confusion with no way out. Besides, the negative emotions it brings are no different than a suffocating swamp that people get addicted to, gradually draining their strength to free themselves. As a result, daily anxieties grow larger and eventually completely overwhelm you. The late writer Yang Yang once said, "Your problem is that you read too little and think too much." Indeed, many people at night think of 1,000 paths for the future, but they still follow the same old path the next morning. If our worries and thoughts keep gnawing at us without any action to resolve them, they will surely grow larger like a snowball, eventually weighing you down and suffocating you. No one can help you at this point unless you decide to throw a punch, break free from your emotional cage, and escape the chaotic maze of your own mind. The root of all troubles: thinking too much and doing too little. Among the two little people, Ha was the first to save himself. He didn't want to sit around waiting to die anymore and decided to go back to looking for cheese every day as he did before. Hem disagreed and questioned him. What if you can't find it? What if you run into a risk? But Ha didn't want to overthink anymore. He dragged his weak body, stumbling around the maze, occasionally picking up a moldy piece of cheese and quickly swallowing it. Gradually, he regained his strength and his mood improved significantly. Whenever he felt discouraged, he told himself that even though what he was doing now didn't make him comfortable, it was still much better than being stuck in a situation with no cheese to eat. At least he was in control of the situation by stopping overthinking and constantly encouraging himself. In this way, Ha eventually found Cheese Station N, just like the little mice. But this time, he was no longer obsessed or dependent on this huge pile of cheese. Instead, he came to Station N every day, ate some cheese, and then ran all over the maze to continue his search. Meanwhile, Hem was still complaining about his loss, waiting for death to slowly approach. This ending reminds me of the famous psychology experiment with a glass of water. A professor held up a glass of water and asked the students, "How much do you think this glass of water weighs?" Some said 5 grams, some said 10 grams, but the professor shook his head and said, "The weight of the water doesn't depend on grams, but on how long you hold it. The first time you hold it, it might only weigh 5 grams, but if you hold it all day, it might feel like it weighs 100 pounds. So how do you get rid of this burden? The answer is, put it down. It's that simple. Just by taking this first action, you'll be able to take the next right actions. The root cause of all burdens and anxieties is that you're thinking too much and doing too little. People who overthink always want to know more, want to get updated, and want to be sure of everything before they start. However, striving for smoothness and perfection only leads to more problems. The endless stream of thoughts will drain your willpower and physical energy, which you should be using to solve the problem. The best way to stop mental self-consumption is to stop looking at the outside world. Shift your attention to yourself and focus completely on the action in the present moment. If you lose your cheese, go find another piece of cheese. If you didn't pass this time, focus on studying and preparing for the next time. If your boss looks at you with a certain attitude, handle your work for the day in the most focused way possible. If someone says something that hurts you, go arrange a vase of flowers, exercise to get a healthy body, or do something you love. Many times, one action is better than 1,000 thoughts. One change is worth far more than meaningless persistence. Instead of tormenting yourself with internal self-consumption, it's best to use action to break through this deadlock. If someone took my cheese, let them take it. Perhaps many of you still wonder, I know overthinking isn't good, But what if I can't control it? If you still can't act to change, then you need to understand the truth behind your self-consumption, which is that overthinking happens because you still have too many expectations. The author writes in the book that the maze symbolizes the complexity of the real world and also represents the human inner world, and cheese symbolizes the things you want the most in a certain period of your life. It could be a high-paying job, a happy relationship, a healthy body, a beautiful mansion, validation from others, a prize for winning a competition. Each of us is searching for our own piece of cheese. We believe that having cheese will bring happiness, but when we have happiness in our hands, many people become dependent on it, and when they lose it, they feel hurt. In reality, this is a dangerous, vicious cycle in the maze. If you don't stay mindful, you'll